Boris Johnson dies, ends up in heaven, and they say to him, you have to wait, we're not ready for you yet. He goes, where have I got to go wait? They said, you've got to wait in limbo while we make our mind up about this decision. He said, where's limbo? He said, it's a lorry park in Kent. Now, Boris Johnson dies. I think I'll do this, right? Johnson dies. Standing before the pearly gates, St. Peter opens the gates. And Johnson said, I am Boris Johnson. Let me in. And St. Peter goes, no, there are rules. This is the rule, this is how it works. I ask you a question, you answer me the question, I take your answer to God. God produces the scroll of judgment and the quill of justice. And writes with the quill of justice on the scroll of judgment, rolls up the scroll of judgment, gives me the scroll of judgment. I take the scroll of judgment back to the pearly gates, open the gates, unfurl the scroll of judgment, read out the judgment, and you will be let into heaven or not, according to the scroll of judgment. And Johnson goes, fine, ask me the question. And St. Peter says, name one thing that you have done that benefited everyone else except you. And Johnson goes, Peppa Pig. And he stands under the sun as it rises and arcs towards its zenith on the midday high point, wondering about his life, wondering about all the decisions he made, trying to find something that he did that benefited everyone. And the sun reaches its zenith and begins to descend on the other side. And still Johnson stands there wondering, going, well, I must have done something. There was the thing with the bus. No, that was bad. There was the thing with the... I was mayor. No, that was all bad. I sacked Gove. That was funny, but not good. The moon begins to rise. It starts its orange celestial course towards its zenith against a backdrop of diamonds knit within the heavens itself. And underneath, Johnson stands there, pondering his fate and trying to think of, well, I must have, there was the kids. No, that's all bad. And the moon begins to descend. And on the second day, as the sun rises, Johnson turns to St. Peter and says, I've got it! I have found something that I have done that benefited everyone but not me. And St. Peter goes, really? He said, yes. He said, what is it? He said, I died. And St. Peter says, oh, fuck. And he starts walking through heaven. And everyone in heaven sees the weights that St. Peter is bearing on his shoulders. This potential destruction of their very Eden, turning it into the spitfire of Johnsonianism. And all the cherubs stop frolicking in the clouds. Jesus was helping someone with IKEA, stops. And we have all the Virgin Mary stops blessing things. And everyone stares at St. Peter. And St. Peter gets to God, and God said, what did he say? He said, he died. And God goes, oh, fuck's sake. Get me the scroll of justice. Get me the quill of judgment. And he writes the judgment of the heavens on the scroll of justice. He gives St. Peter the scroll of justice. St. Peter begins to walk through heavens. Everyone now has noticed the burden getting bigger and bigger. The cherubs are crying. Their rivulets of tears form rainbows of misery in the very clouds they inhabit. Virgin Mary has stopped doing what she's doing and has got the look of a woman who wishes she'd made more of her life on her face. And Judas is standing there going, I bet he comes and talks to me. And eventually St. Peter gets to the pearly gates, opens the gates, and unfurls the scroll of justice, and Johnson goes, well? And St. Peter says, God's sake, we've changed the rules. Fuck off. Thank you very, very much for having me here today.